One may think that to learn about history you have to sit through history class after history class, lecture after lecture, or you have to travel around to various history museums. But a fascinating history experience is just a car ride away. Our adventure through time begins at the Worcester Art Museum, where two history hunters will explain to you how beautiful pieces of art and architecture can expose a period in time and history. We begin with pieces from the Foundations period all the way up to today. Now sit back, relax, and join us on our adventure through history.
This is a piece of Greek art, and it's a storage jar with black figure-painted pottery. It comes from the vicinity of Athens about 515 to 500 BC. This is culturally significant because the Greeks during this time period were painting pictures of their gods, and this jar depicts Leto and her two children, Apollo and Artemis. The museum came to get this piece from a museum purchase from the Austin S. and Sarah C. Garber funds.
Sarcophagus from the 3rd century AD from Egypt, and it is culturally significant because it marks the end of a time period from which the Egyptians would bury their dead in sarcophaguses. They believed that you needed the sarcophagus to be carried from the earth into the afterlife. And we are not currently sure how it came to reside in the Worcester Art Museum. Of Guanyin, who was the Buddhist deity of compassion. This piece is made out of wood and is from the Chinese Yuan dynasty. It's culturally significant because it would have resided in a Chinese Buddhist temple. Also, Guanyin was associated with the Buddha of the West, who was specifically associated with China and important to Chinese culture. The museum came to have this piece because they bought it. It was from West Central France in the 1100s that the Worcester Art Museum bought and reconstructed here in Worcester. A chapter house is a place where the French people would meet after Mass to conduct daily business and have meetings. And this is also a very cool piece of art because it's not just a painting that you see, it's something that you can actually walk in and experience and see for yourself what a chapter house really was like in France during the 1100s.
This here is a granite carving of the Hindu god Skanda. It's from South India in the 17th century AD. It is important because this deity is the Hindu god of war, and also the peacock shown in the carving also shows that this is the god of immortality. This is culturally significant because Skanda is commonly worshipped in South India. And Hinduism uses many carvings and pictures to worship their gods. The museum came to get this by purchasing it. This is an oil painting done by Cristobal de Villalpando, and it's from Mexico from the time period 1700 to 1714, and it's called The Meeting of Tobias and Raguel. It incorporates the angel Raphael, and it was culturally significant because it shows the religious importance in colonial Mexico. Villalpando was one of the most successful painters in colonial Mexico, and this is one of his many important religious commissions done, and the museum obtained this painting through the Mary G. Ellis Fund. This large basin, inspired by Kublai Khan, is from China and is from the 20th century. And it is also inspired by a similar design done by the King Long Emperor. And this marks and is significant because it shows a transition between the Yuan and Ming dynasty that is important to Chinese culture. This came to reside in the Worcester Art Museum because it was a gift from John and Maria Durlum.
These sculptures are examples of bultos, which are sculptures devoted to saints. These particular bultos are made in New Mexico between 1750 and 1900 when they adopted the practice from Mexico City due to their close proximity. The attention to detail on these figures shows how important they were to New Mexican worship and values. Most of these sculptures were dated by Miss Harriet Clark to the Worcester Art Museum.
This is a pen and ink drawing done on Fusuma paper called Katana, done in 2015 by the artist Katsuya Terada, who was Japanese, born in 1963. This drawing was also given to the museum by the artist. The artist said that her drawing Katana was inspired by the fact that we think samurai were commonplace during their time period, yet there were actually only a small percentage of them. Therefore, we think of their existence as actually fabled, which is why she placed the samurai among a group of mythical creatures to show that we don't actually know all the most accurate information about them. This drawing is held in the samurai wing, where you can also stand on tatami, which is woven straw mats, to where you can take your shoes off and reflect. This is a screen print done by Roy Lichtenstein, and he's an American, and it was done in 1965, and it's called Sweet Dreams Baby. This is culturally significant because it shows how American art transitioned through time periods and how pop art was a cultural icon during the 1960s. This screen print was given to the museum as a gift from the Patrick and Amy Family Foundation.
In the armory part of the Worcester Art Museum, all sorts of different armor can be seen, such as helmets for both warriors and their cavalry, and also full-body armor suits. The helmets span from the time period of foundations all the way to first modern, and also span from places like Persia and Iran all the way to Japan and France. The helmets show how constant warfare was, and also how they're used for ceremonial purposes.
Thank you for watching and learning from our experience at the Worcester Art Museum. And thank you to our sources, which include the art pieces talked about in this video, information given by the Worcester Art Museum, and the Traditions and Encounters World History textbook used to verify this information. We hope that you learned the information given in our video, but we also hope that now you know that history is right at your doorstep in places you wouldn't imagine. An art museum is just one example, but there are plenty of other adventures you can take to learn about the world around you and the world from the past.